When adjusting stitch length on the BERNINA L 850 serger, I love that this dial is on the outside of the machine, meaning I can change it while I'm serging. It goes all the way up to 4.5. This would be 4.5 millimeters. So if you're used to your sewing machine stitch length, about 2.5 is probably normal. A little thicker fabric, make the stitch length a little longer. If you've ever had to kind of push the fabric or you feel like there's a lot of stitches happening on a thicker fabric, yes, make that stitch length 3 to 4, see what works well for what you're stitching on. If your fabric is very thin and delicate, you're probably going to come down to somewhere in the 2 or slightly less than 2 range. Now you do see that you have an R here because when we switch over to do a rolled hem, most people will do a rolled hem and it's very dense, almost like a satin stitch. So you're shortening the stitch length to the rolled hem setting for that particular style or look. But definitely try out rolled hems with a little longer stitch length. Number one, they'll go faster. And number two, sometimes you just need a nice delicate edge, but you don't need a solid filled in edge that takes a while for it to go through the serger. So usually what I'll have my students try out is that when you're starting off and trying all these different settings, set the serger for the longest stitch length and then just serge down a piece of fabric a little at a time, changing it to a shorter and shorter stitch length as you go. Now I'm getting very, very short, close together stitches, and on a 4-thread overlock, I'll tell you, it actually doesn't look pretty at all. But I'm going to bring this back out to kind of a medium setting here and finish off, and let me show you the results. So these stitches are very open, and probably for this fabric, it's going to kind of open it up way too much here. So I'm looking for kind of a medium stitch length is good for kind of that medium fabric. You get really close together, kind of the loops start to hang off the edge. It's just not set up for a short stitched 4-thread overlock, and then going back to a nice normal stitch length. So you'll experiment as always when you're testing out new fabric. The stitch length to dial in, I love that there's no clicks or boundaries I'm set to stay in. Again, I can just change it just a little at a time and get it perfect for the fabric I've chosen.